Imagine being a child in a house full of people, yet feeling completely alone. Every day, you wake up hoping someone will notice you, hoping someone will ask how you're feeling, hoping someone will truly see you. But instead, your words are ignored, your emotions are dismissed, and your presence slowly fades into the background. You begin to watch other children receiving attention, comfort, and encouragement while you quietly wonder why nobody seems to care about your pain. At first, you try harder. You speak louder. You seek approval. But after enough disappointment, something changes inside you. You stop asking. You stop expressing your feelings. You learn to hide your sadness behind a smile. Deep down, you start believing that your emotions don't matter, your needs are a burden, and your voice isn't important. This silent lesson becomes the foundation of your identity. Years later, that child grows into an adult who still carries the same invisible wound. A wound that cannot be seen by others but affects every relationship, every decision, and every dream. This is the story of the ignored child, and for many people, it is a story that never truly ended. Childhood emotional neglect extended. Every child enters this world with emotional needs. They need love, attention, comfort, and reassurance. They need someone who listens when they speak and someone who notices when they are hurting. But for some children, these emotional needs are never fully met. Their parents may provide food, clothes, and shelter, yet fail to provide emotional connection. The child may come home excited to share a story, only to be ignored. They may cry themselves to sleep while nobody asks what is wrong. Day after day, they learn a painful lesson. Their feelings are not important. Over time, they stop expressing themselves. They stop asking for comfort. They begin to suppress their emotions because experience has taught them that nobody is coming to help. What makes emotional neglect so dangerous is that it often goes unnoticed. There are no bruises, no obvious signs of abuse. Yet the damage runs deep. The child grows up believing that love must be earned, that their needs are a burden, and that vulnerability is unsafe. These beliefs silently shape the rest of their life. The attachment wound extended. From the moment we are born, our brains are designed for connection. A baby's cry is not weakness. It is a survival mechanism. It is nature's way of seeking safety and protection. When caregivers respond consistently with warmth and care, the child develops trust. They learn that the world is safe and that people can be relied upon. But when those emotional signals are ignored, the child's nervous system begins to adapt. Instead of feeling secure, they become uncertain. Instead of expecting support, they expect disappointment. Deep inside, an attachment wound begins to form. The child may not understand what is happening, but their brain remembers. They start believing that they must handle everything alone. They stop trusting others with their emotions. As they grow older, this wound follows them into friendships, relationships, and even their relationship with themselves. What started as a lack of emotional attention slowly becomes a lifelong fear of abandonment and rejection. Anxiety and hypervigilance extended. Childhood emotional neglect doesn't simply disappear with age. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. Many ignored children grow into adults who live in a constant state of anxiety. Their minds are always searching for danger. They overanalyze conversations, replay mistakes, and worry about things that haven't even happened yet. Their nervous system becomes trapped in survival mode. Even when life is calm, they struggle to feel safe. A delayed text message can feel like rejection. A small disagreement can feel like a catastrophe. Their minds constantly ask, what if something goes wrong? This isn't because they are weak or overly sensitive. It's because their brains learned early in life that support wasn't guaranteed. As a result, they become hypervigilant, always preparing for the next disappointment. Unfortunately, this constant state of alertness drains their energy, affects their relationships, and steals their ability to enjoy the present moment. Mask 1. The Independent Survivor Extended. One of the most common survival strategies developed by ignored children is extreme independence. These individuals learn to rely on nobody except themselves. They become the people who never ask for help, never share their struggles, and always appear strong. Others admire their self-sufficiency, but few understand the pain hidden beneath it. Their independence is often rooted in fear rather than confidence. Deep down, they believe that depending on others will only lead to disappointment. So they carry every burden alone. They struggle in silence and convince themselves that needing support is a sign of weakness. Yet the truth is that human beings were never meant to face life completely alone. The independent survivor may look strong on the outside, but inside they're often exhausted from carrying responsibilities that were never meant to be carried alone. Mask 2. The Perfectionist Extended. Some ignored children choose a different survival strategy. Instead of withdrawing from the world, they try to earn love through achievement. They become perfectionists. They believe that if they work harder, achieve more, and become successful enough, they will finally receive the validation they have always wanted. Their lives become a never-ending pursuit of excellence. They set impossibly high standards and criticize themselves for every mistake. Even when they succeed, the satisfaction is temporary. A promotion, an award, or a compliment may provide relief for a moment, but the emptiness soon returns. That's because the real wound was never about achievement. It was about emotional connection. No amount of success can replace the love and acceptance that was missing during childhood. Yet many perfectionists spend years chasing accomplishments, hoping they will finally feel worthy enough. Mask 3. The people pleaser extended. For some individuals, survival means keeping everyone else happy. They become people pleasers. They learn to read the emotions of others and adapt their behavior to avoid conflict. They say yes when they want to say no. They prioritize other people's needs while neglecting their own. Deep down, they fear rejection and abandonment. They believe that if they stop pleasing others, they will lose the love and acceptance they desperately crave. As a result, they become experts at hiding their true feelings. They smile when they are hurting. They agree when they disagree. Over time, they lose touch with their own identity because they spend so much energy becoming who others want them to be. Their greatest challenge is learning that real relationships do not require constant self-sacrifice. Mask 4. Emotional detachment extended. Not everyone responds to emotional neglect by seeking approval or working harder. Some people respond by shutting down emotionally. They stop expecting love, support, or understanding from others. They lower their expectations and avoid getting too attached to anything. This emotional detachment acts like a shield, protecting them from future disappointment. They convince themselves that they don't care. They stop dreaming because dreams can be broken. They stop hoping because hope can lead to pain. To others, they may appear calm and unaffected, but beneath the surface is a person who has simply learned to survive by disconnecting from their own emotions. The problem is that while emotional walls may protect us from pain, they also block us from experiencing genuine connection and happiness. Anxious attachment extended. When emotionally neglected children grow up, they often carry their childhood fears into adult relationships. One of the most common results is anxious attachment. These individuals deeply desire love, connection, and closeness. However, beneath that desire is a constant fear of being abandoned. Every relationship feels uncertain. A delayed text message can trigger panic. A short response can feel like rejection. They begin overthinking every interaction, searching for signs that the other person is losing interest. Their emotions become tied to the behavior of the people they love. They constantly seek reassurance because deep down they fear that they're not enough. What makes this pattern so painful is that they're not only fighting the present moment, they're also fighting old childhood wounds. The fear of being ignored as a child becomes the fear of being abandoned as an adult. Avoidant attachment extended. While some people become anxious in relationships, others move in the opposite direction. They develop avoidant attachment. These individuals may crave connection, but intimacy feels dangerous. Whenever someone gets too close emotionally, they instinctively pull away. They struggle to trust others and often keep their feelings hidden. Vulnerability makes them uncomfortable because their childhood taught them that emotional needs would not be met. Instead of risking disappointment, they choose distance. They tell themselves they don't need anyone. They avoid deep conversations and emotional dependence. But beneath that independence is a fear of being hurt. They build walls around their hearts, believing those walls will keep them safe. Unfortunately, those same walls also prevent them from experiencing the love and connection they secretly desire. Identity crisis extended. One of the hidden consequences of emotional neglect is losing touch with your own identity. When a child's feelings are consistently ignored, they stop paying attention to their inner world. Instead of asking what they want, they focus on what others expect from them. Over time, they become experts at adapting to other people's needs while forgetting their own. As adults, they may struggle to answer simple questions like, "Who am I?" or "What do I truly want?" They spend years living according to expectations rather than personal values. Looking in the mirror, they may feel disconnected from themselves. They have played so many roles for so many people that they no longer recognize the person underneath. This identity crisis is not a sign of weakness. It is the result of years spent ignoring their own emotional needs. Hidden pain behind empathy extended. Many emotionally neglected children develop an extraordinary ability to understand other people's emotions. Because they spent their childhood carefully observing others, they become highly empathetic adults. They notice pain that others miss. They become excellent listeners, supportive friends, and caring partners. People often turn to them for comfort and advice. But there's a hidden cost. While they are busy helping everyone else, they often neglect themselves. They carry wounds that nobody sees. They offer compassion to everyone around them except themselves. Their kindness becomes a way of avoiding their own pain. As a result, they often feel emotionally exhausted, giving so much to others while receiving very little in return. Self-validation extended. Healing begins when a person stops waiting for others to validate their emotions. Many ignored children grow up believing that their feelings are unimportant. They constantly seek approval from others before trusting their own experiences. But recovery starts with self-validation. It starts with saying, "My feelings matter. My pain is real. My experiences are valid." This simple shift can be life-changing. Instead of criticizing themselves for being emotional, they learn to treat themselves with compassion. Instead of dismissing their struggles, they acknowledge them. Self-validation teaches the brain a new lesson, one that should have been learned during childhood. It teaches that every emotion deserves attention, understanding, and care. Learning to speak up extended. For many emotionally neglected individuals, expressing needs feels uncomfortable. They fear being judged, rejected, or ignored. As a result, they stay silent even when they need support. Healing requires changing this pattern. It begins with small acts of courage, asking for help, expressing an opinion, setting a boundary, saying no when necessary. These actions may seem simple, but for someone who grew up feeling invisible, they can feel incredibly difficult. Each time they speak up, they challenge an old belief. They prove to themselves that their voice matters. Over time, these small moments of self-expression create confidence, self-respect, and emotional freedom. Reparenting the inner child extended. One of the most powerful concepts in emotional healing is known as reparenting. Imagine meeting the younger version of yourself, the child who felt ignored, misunderstood, and alone. Imagine sitting beside that child and offering the comfort they never received. Imagine telling them, "You are important. Your feelings matter. You deserve love." Reparenting means becoming the supportive caregiver you needed during childhood. It means showing yourself patience instead of criticism, compassion instead of shame, and understanding instead of judgment. This process does not erase the past, but it helps heal the wounds left behind. It teaches the inner child that they are finally safe. Breaking the cycle, extended. Many emotionally neglected parents were once emotionally neglected children themselves. They passed down patterns they never learned to change. Understanding this truth does not excuse harmful behavior, but it helps explain it. The good news is that awareness creates choice. Once we recognize these patterns, we can choose a different path. We can learn healthier ways to communicate, connect, and express emotions. We can become more emotionally present for the people we love. Most importantly, we can prevent these wounds from being passed to future generations. Healing ourselves is not just a gift to us. It is a gift to everyone who comes after us. The ignored child never wanted perfection. He never wanted to be stronger than everyone else. All he ever wanted was to be seen, heard, and loved. But even if that love was missing in the past, it doesn't mean it has to be missing forever. Healing begins the moment you realize that your feelings matter and that you deserve the same kindness you give to others. Your past may explain your pain, but it does not define your future. And maybe today is the day you stop being the ignored child and start becoming the person you were always meant to be. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful psychology stories. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next video. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are never invisible, you are always worthy of love. Red Heart.